Okay, now that we've got our Explorer working, now we need to sit there and get him into another room. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a door object now. So let's just stick him over. We can go ahead and close our Explorer for right now, and let's go ahead and create another object. We're going to call it object underscore door, and we're going to assign the correct sprite. And now let's open our room up, and we're going to sit there, and while I'm thinking of it, let's change the room to room first, because that's going to make a difference here. We're going to include the door object now, and I'm just going to put it right next to it because we're just using it for a test, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, and because we want a second room when we do this, we're going to move over here. We're going to right click on room first and say duplicate, and now we can sit there and change that name to room second. And because I want to be able to tell it's that room, I can go to the Backgrounds tab, and I'm going to change the background. So I'm just going to pick a light blue. Okay, that way we know, we can close it now, that way we know which room we are actually in. Okay, so now the simplest way to do these things, to move to the next room, is when you collide with something like a button or a stop, or in this case a door. So we're going to add an event where we have let the door, which is what we are in right now, and we're going to collide with our Explorer. Please don't select door, because since the door is not moving, the door will not collide with the door. And at this point we just want to sit there and we want to click on main one, and we want to go to the next room. Now you can have a bunch of transitions. Since I'm recording, I'm not going to bother. Okay, and I'm going to click OK, and let's see what happens. Okay, so now it's loading up. I apologize for the pauses here because GameMaker just takes a minute or two, a few seconds to load up. And so now that we have this, we can go and click over here, and voila, notice we're in the next room now. Now, here's the problem. Let me go and hit this door now. Not good. The reason is I went what? To move next to the next room, and I was in the last room. So we're going to abort so we can bring this back up, and let's take a look over here at our rooms. We have a first room and we have a room second. So room first, there's a next room. Room second, there is no next room. So one of the things we can do is we can test it. Notice we have these two stop sign shaped items here where we can test, we can check if there's a previous room, and we can check if there's a next room. So we're going to pull check if there's a next room. So if there's a next room, it will go to the next room. So now when we run it, we've avoided all those errors and everything. Okay. And I'm just going to go over here, and I can go to this door now. Yeah, there's a second one, but now if I do it, notice nothing happens because I'm colliding with it, and because they're not solid, we don't stop. But guess what? Nope, can't quite hide in there. But we don't sit there and we don't have the error because it doesn't try to go to the next room because there's not one. Okay, so remember that we've got those other things. Now, your homework too, and this is something that I'm covering a little bit more than I did actually in the face-to-face class. Your homework too requires you to leave a room when you've gotten rid of all the madmen and all the monsters. So in reality, you're really trying to get out of there when there are no more of those objects in a room. Okay? Well, one of the ways we can do this is, and I'm going to be creating another object. Okay, it's not going to be an object door, but we are going to use the door. Actually, we'll create another sprite as well. So I'm just going to create another sprite real quick, and sprite underscore bad guy. Okay, and I'm going to load a sprite, and I think I've got somebody I can probably use as a bad guy in here. Let me see what we've got. I'm sort of making this up on the fly right now, so I'm not yeah, do we have somebody who can be NPC guy? Okay, Dr. Dark Guy, boy. I'm actually skeleton. That's what I was hoping for. Remove a background, click open. Okay, so there's our object bad guy, or our sprite bad guy, excuse me. We need to make an object, so it's object bad guy, and assign the sprite. Okay. And so we don't forget, we're going to put one of these in the room. Okay? So we have one of whatever object you wanted in that room. Okay? So what we're going to do is we need to open up our Object Explorer, because there's many ways you might think of to check when this happens, but the key thing is you should check every step. And since the player's checking, that's a good place to start, isn't it? Okay, but you got to be careful here, because in this case we've got the Explorer, he's in more than one room, and you may not have the same testing in another room. Okay, if you do, I would put it right here in the Object Explorer. But since we don't in this little example, we're going to close Object Explorer and close Object Door, and I'm going to create a new object called Object_Controller. We've talked about controllers before, no sprites. They stay in the room, and actually I'm going to rename that Controller 1, so I know it's the first level. That way I can have something different in the second level. Now let's do an add step, and we'll just do the regular step. We'll talk later on in the course the difference between the end step and the begin step and the step. Has to do with when during the step those things happen. Obviously the beginning, the ending, and the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to test. We're going to see if there's any objects. Now if we look, we can test for those objects under control. Okay, you'll notice something here with the objects. We can test instance count. So if there are object bad guy, and if they equal 0, that means I got rid of them all. Okay, and if I do that, what do I want to do? Well, if I do that, then I want to go to the next room. Okay, so in this case, since I know there's a next room where I'm putting it, I don't have to test it. I can just say go to the next room. Okay, now to prove that that's going to work, I'm going to open up room first, and I'm going to put a second skeleton in there. Okay, just so you can see I don't go the first time. Okay, so now we've got all that. Let's try it, and I think you can see what we're doing. Every step. What did I forget? I already just realized that. I did not put the object controller in the room, and that's something that's very easy to forget. Remember, it doesn't have a sprite. So right now, nothing would happen. So I'm going to go ahead and open up room first, and I'm going to put an object controller, and I always like to put mine in the top left corner. Okay, and I was ad-libbing. I actually made a mistake, because I need to open up object bad guy. Because if he collides with the Explorer, I want to get rid of him. Okay? So that's what happens when you don't have a script and you're just ad-libbing right now. So now if we try to run it, with any luck, we should be able to go over to the first one. He's gone. Go to the second one. Boom, I'm in the next room. Okay? So hopefully this will help you as you start doing your homework too. That's all I'm going to do for the videos for this week. Please make sure if you have any questions, you give me a holler, and we'll see you in class or online.